going on, guys? Ronnie here from Speed Lab. You guys have asked, I have not been able to deliver. Finally, we have a media team here that we're actually going to be shooting 2 videos a week. Most likely it's going to be uploaded Wednesday and Saturday, or it might be Tuesday and Saturday. So we're going to do 2 videos a week, and we're going to try to keep it super informative, as I have been to this day. But we're going to do episodes, and we're going to kind of, you know, jump around topic to topic, car to car. I'm super excited because we're going to have a super professional media team that's going to handle everything, and you know, I don't need to sit there and, you know, just stick videos together and just upload it on YouTube. But today we're going to start by just kind of going over some shop projects that we have. One of them being my own personal car, which is the shop car, the SPL EVO. This project has kind of been at a halt. I had a loss in the family, so I was out for about a month. As soon as I came back, it was extremely busy. I mean, I finally got, you know, some cars out, and I have some time to actually work on my own car. Finally mounted the carbon fiber fenders, which will give you guys a full 360 of the car, so you guys can check it out. We did tube the front end of the car. Pretty much everything that you can get carbon fiber we already got, aside from the roof. So we got the carbon fiber headlight deletes. You know, we don't need headlights anymore. Carbon fiber tail light deletes, which we're waiting on. They're almost done. Our buddy Sergio at Carbonetics is getting those done. Carbon fiber windows with Lexan doors, of course. That shaves about 170 or 180 pounds off the car, which is extremely significant. We do have an 8.5 cert cage, which, you know, after doing all of this to the car, I feel like it's, you know, we should have just done a different cage. So, you know, 8.5 might be a little too slow, but I don't know. I mean, that's still, you know, I have to break into the 9s, break into the 8s, and then, you know, talk about that. As far as the motor and the setup goes, with the turbo kit right now is at CM Builds. He's doing some modifications to the actual kit. Initially, we had a Zono 11569, which is a 76mm turbocharger, super small 69mm exhaust side. So gave my buddies at HPT a call. I'm an HPT dealer. And Tristan hooked me up with a 7880, so we got the ginormous 80mm turbine wheel, 78mm compressor wheel. It's an F3 frame turbocharger, so it has a 3-inch outlet. It's going to be running a single 44mm gate, and that's going to be a E-gate, so we're going to be controlling that through the Haltech. So that's going to be super cool. As far as the motor setup goes, it's a long rod 2-liter, 156mm, solid beam R&Rs with L19s. They are essentially SPL spec, as we custom ordered those. Pistons are pretty much our SPL 1000, SPL 900 pistons. Slight difference for the aluminum rods, just because, you know, there is a little bit of stretch that happens when the rod gets to op temp. It does grow a tiny bit, so you kind of have to accommodate for that. You got to make sure the wrist pin does not hit the bottom of the piston. Block is full concrete filled, so as you guys can see over here, we got a Magnus water neck. And we have a dash 16 on the other side welded. So all we're going to be doing is we're going to be feeding it water with a Maizier water pump that's going to be also controlled by the Haltech. And essentially only the cylinder head is going to get water and cooling. The cooling on the engine side is going to be done by the oil, but, you know, the majority of the cooling that you need is going to be in the chambers anyway. So yeah, that's that. But like I said, it is full filled. We do have a copper head gasket, a sandwich in between. So we have receiver grooves on the block. We got O-rings on the head. That stuff was all done in-house. We cut the rings. We installed the O-rings. Of course, we did our own assembly, but not the machine work. So Aaron at Arlington Machine, shout out to you. You know, he takes care of all of our machine work, and he did a phenomenal job on this one as well. We got a CNC ported cylinder head, which we call the SPL Stage 3. Kegley high pressure valve spring shim for all the boost, literally. We got a single set of ID 2600s. This car still is going to be running on ethanol. It's going to be on Ignite Red E90. We got the drive-by-wire, of course, but now we got the Magnus 3.5-inch adapter that goes on there, and then essentially you can weld the engine clamp at 3.5, and then we're going to kick down the 3.5 all the way to the intercooler. So 2 front end, like I said, I guess half 2 front end. It's not fully mounted. I was just kind of putting everything together because we're going to film this. I guess we could kind of take a look at it from the side for the time being before we go up. We got some welds, we got some empty drag radials. Yeah, inside is not too pretty right now, so we're going to lift the car up, and then I'm going to explain everything that's going on the bottom of the vehicle. We have the wheel woods. This is the STM small brake kit. We have the regular rotors in the front, and we got the scallop rotors in the back. Essentially, you know, STM kit front and back. And if we just go underneath the car, oh, I forgot both of us are extremely tall. All right, so underneath the car, we'll find a 19mm. We have diamond subframes. This one had a provision for exhaust hangers. Obviously, you know, we don't mess with that foo-foo stuff, so there's no exhaust hangers anymore, so I decided to cut them. And of course they're not flush because yeah, I don't know, for some reason I couldn't cut them flush, and I didn't want to get, you know, through to the powder coat. I did get them this color, like it was already powder coated this color. I did not choose this, do not judge me. I kind of just went with it because it looks pretty nice, you know, I like it. So we got a non-ACD, of course. One honk usually works, you know. No. We're moving to a bigger spot, I promise. So we got a non-ACD T-case over here. Of course, we got rid of the ACD system and the reservoir and everything a long time ago because who needs that extra weight? So we got a wave track diff in the front. We have a manual rack on the diamond subframe, so no more power steering because, you know, who needs that extra weight? As far as the axles go, we got the DSS level 2 axles. So these are rated for 900 horsepower, and the only reason they're rated for that power level and we don't have anything crazier is because they don't make anything crazier than that. Follow me here. If you guys look, every single nut and bolt that I got on titanium. Literally, even the inspection cover on the T-case, the actual case cover of the T-case, the actual T-case of the trans bolts, bell housing bolts, everything. As far as the sump kit goes, we just have a Moroso pan. We do have a Frontline Fabrication billet G-rotor oil pump. Again, all titanium bolts on the front. That's really saving us like 4 pounds throughout the whole car, and I spent like $5,000, but we're not going to talk about that. Up next, we're going to look at the carbon fiber drive shaft. This is from Drive Shaft Shop, of course. They make a couple different styles of drive shaft. They make an aluminum one, they make like a hybrid one, and then they make a full carbon fiber one. For drag racing applications, especially on a car that's going to launch super hard and it's going to bounce, you want to have the carbon fiber one because this actually has a little bit of give. So, you know, it twists and it absorbs a little bit of the power. Yes, it does rub a little bit of the power, but you're not destroying components as frequently. It all depends on how much power you're putting down, what kind of 60-foot you're cutting, your suspension setup, all that stuff. But anyway, not to get too carried away. Up next, we're going to talk about the rear differential and the rear suspension components. So we got the STM adjustable lower control arms. Again, titanium hardware everywhere I could. Over here we have the torque solution lockout for the eccentric bolt. So this is basically for camber adjustment. So we're going to completely lock that out, and then this becomes your camber adjustment instead. So it's kind of pretty cool actually. But obviously this is not supposed to be loose. You know, we don't have the car fully put together yet. We have the STM D2 coilovers front and back. It's their spec. That's what they ran in their tin can EVO or rice box. I can't remember the name, but they went 8.0s like in 2014. That's essentially the same suspension from that car, and it has their D2s, but they have Swift springs. Again, STM spec. We do have the level 5 1200 horsepower axles in the back, the big boys. These alone are like close to $3,000 just to get these axles. And it's for good reason. You know, they don't break. They're not supposed to break. Yes, we'll find out if I can break them or not. When I was trying to figure out the fuel system, I had a, well, I actually still have a, oh, I should sell this. I actually forgot. I literally have a fuel cell that mounts in the factory location. Thank you for filming. Because now I remember I could make some money back. This really hurt my pockets. But anyway, this is a spare tire. It's a 10-gallon fuel cell from Radium. It's kind of a the size for the spare tire wall on the EVO is not really a standard size. So what you do is you get these mounting brackets essentially, and then you still have to kind of weld some tabs, like 3 on each side, to kind of weld this in place. But once we do, the nice thing is going to be that not only do I have a lot of fuel, you know, instead of like a 5-gallon cell here, like a 5-gallon cell up front, which God forbid if I wreck it and I put the car in the wall, you know, I'm gonna catch on fire. You know, at least this way I'm gonna catch on fire if I hit the wall going backwards, which if I do, I mean, you know, that's shit luck. I mean, at that point, it's like you deserve to catch on fire. I don't know, man. It's like, well, if that happens, that's not good, you know? So we also have the surge tank. So this is a surge tank from Radium. But what's cool about it is you have a lift pump, which is essentially going to be sucking fuel from the actual sump, and it's going to be filling it up over here in the surge area. And in the surge areas where we're going to have the ELM pump, the Thai Automotive brushless pump, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. Over here we have a nitrous that is not mounted properly, and we never intended on using it anyway, not on this setup at least, but we have it because why not? You know, what if one day we decide that, you know, that, I don't know, that 1400 horsepower that 7880 is gonna put out is not enough. You know, we can always spray it to have a little bit more. It's kind of insane if you think about how light this car is gonna be. Probably like 2,500 pounds without me in it, or maybe less. And you're talking about that much horsepower. Just the power to weight ratio is kind of crazy. That's over a 1-to-1. If this thing makes 1400, that's insane. That's more than a 1-to-1 ratio. That's like a 1.3 to 1 ratio, right? That's insane. So we'll see how that works out. Obviously, you know, not all runs are going to be full power going down the drag strip, especially if I'm trying to get used to it. I've never been a drag racer. I've built these cars all my life, but I've never actually owned the drag car that I've, you know, launched properly on the track on a sticky surface. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this car. So no street racing. Street racing bad.
Here's your Tap Magic EP Extra cutting fuel.
This is my lube. Here's the story behind this. They released this pump, and Thai Automotive released a controller a long time ago, and apparently they were testing it on a plane, and the pump failed, and the plane literally crashed, and everybody on board died. I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's insane. That's the story. And then Thai Automotive said that if somebody can make a controller that we can test for 6 months straight, 24 hours a day, that will not fail the controller, we will release the pump and the controller again to the public. So the pump has been available to the public for a very long time. The controllers, however, have not been able to do proper PW and pulse width modulation. So that's kind of how you ramp that, you know, fuel in for, you know, that much fuel, because at idle you can't have enough fuel for 2,000 horsepower, and that would be absurd. So this kind of ramps it in based on map signal, or you can just, you know, control it via the ECU. But this single pump on E85 is capable of 2,000 horsepower. It's like 1,200 on methanol, and I think like 3,500 on like a pump-based fuel, which would be like C16, Q16, something like that. This pump will flow over 3,000 horsepower worth of fuel, which is just absurd. So this controller is what's, you know, making this all come together. So this is also going to be housed in the trunk. Got some 4-gauge TEF cell, which literally costs like $200, $250 per 10 feet. That to get power and ground. And we have various gauges as well, because we also have to wire in the actual pump connector. This one doesn't have to be as crazy, but you know, when you're spending this much money, you might as well just use really good TEF cell wire. These units can draw up to like 200 amps from what I'm aware of with 2 of these pumps. So like all these like Huracans that you guys are seeing, GTRs that are making like 3,000-4,000 horsepower, they're running 2 of these ELM pumps. So it can draw like 200 amps, which is absurd. That's a lot of amperage to, you know, draw. So yeah, that's where we are with the car. As far as the parachute, if you guys don't see one, it's because we have the STM parachute that actually goes inside the crash beam of the rear of the vehicle. And then whenever you want, you know, you can just take it out, put the license plate back on, take it off, and then put the parachute plate back on. There's nothing crazy really happening right now. We do have the IC7. I do have a carbon fiber dash literally sitting over there, up there. I don't know if you can get it, but I'm not going to be using that just because that's a lot of trimming that I don't want to do right now. And there are some factory classes that you can't run if you have a carbon fiber dash. So, but anyway, so this is the 8.5 strict cage that I was telling you guys about. We got the window net over here. So my precious head that's filled with all this useless information does not get cracked open. You get the idea. Like I said, we have an IC7, so you know we can have it scream at us if there's a danger to manifold or anything like that. And due to the fact that my fabricator did not account for this swing out bar not clearing the actual B-pillar. I have to get a custom steering wheel to get in and out of the car, which I didn't want the OEM one anyway. No money shifter. Basically how this works, if you guys haven't seen it already, is there's a slot cut over here. So when you shift into first gear on a dog box, because there is no synchro engagement to slow down the next gear, you can easily go back into first gear by accident. So you can 1-to-1 money shift it 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time. Your motor's done, your transmission's done when you do that. So he came up with this awesome idea. It's a billet shifter. Click into second, and when you try to go back, it drops down and it just goes back into third gear. So that's first, that's second, that's third. You can't go back into first gear and destroy, I don't know, 30-40K worth of stuff. That dildo looking thing is, I didn't get that shifter because I like the way it looked. If you guys think that, you guys are silly. Maybe slightly. It's essentially a sensor built into the actual shifter, or the dildo, whatever you want to call it. I really don't know why I bought the one with the head like that, because every time I shift with this thing, I don't feel like a man. My masculinity is...
Don't act like you don't like it.
That's what I said. I said I don't dislike it fully, but I can't hold the tip. If you guys look over there, we actually have a Home Racing quick disconnect wiring harness. So it's all concentric twisted. A super awesome wiring harness. So if we're trying to pull the motor at the track or do something crazy like that, just unhook the harness and just drop the motor, so you don't have to go individually pluck out every single connector that you have. Of course, we can't forget the Speed Lab shifter, which is I have like 10 of these left, probably sold out, literally, like right here. Water?
What does that do?
What, the water?
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. I haven't decided what it's for yet. We got a custom catch can from DI Fab. 4 ports. One scavenge is going to be from front of the block. Another scavenge is going to be from the front of the oil pump. So the Frontline Fab oil pump actually has a -16 provision for ventilation, essentially, and I use a -16 to -6, which is like the craziest step down. It literally goes from this to like this. From the Magnus valve cover, these are -12s, these are -10s. We're gonna do 2 -12s over here too, and then we're gonna get those in the catch can. This thing is going to make an insane amount of crankcase pressure because it's gonna make a lot of boost. Before we were running like 55, 58 pounds on the street on that tiny turbo, which was 67 millimeter. Now we have a 78 millimeter. So, you know, boost and back pressure is not going to be an issue. So we need to scavenge as much as the crankcase pressure as possible. Of course, when you're going solid, you know, block and all that stuff, your clearances are exponentially bigger, so your rings are already not sealing as well because you're giving it so much extra space to expand and all that stuff. So yeah, these motors aren't meant to last forever. These ones, the SPL 900s, will last a very long time, but something like this, maybe 2 seasons if you don't make mistakes, or you know, something doesn't happen on the pass. You know, no pass is ever guaranteed from what they tell me and from what I've seen, you know. Of course, we tune them on the dyno, they're always fine. Yes, mistakes can happen, but 99% of the time they're solid. But when you're going down the track and you're throwing literally every ounce of power that the engine can handle, you know, things are bound to go wrong. A couple other things that are not on the car but are going on the car, they're tucked somewhere there. We got a ACM staging brake, and we got an ABS delete, of course, because we're not running ABS on this thing. So yeah, and as far as the clutch goes, we got a Quartermaster triple on there. The dog box is built by Rafe at RRT, quickest and fastest EVO in the world. That's pretty much it for this part of the video. As we get close to wrapping the vehicle up completely, obviously we're gonna have more updates for you guys, which should be soon. Now we're spending a little bit more time on the actual shop car to, you know, get it ready. We want to take it out to events and you know, make some passes with this thing. I mean, it's been sitting for such a long time, and it's just, you know, money being dumped in and fun not coming out. So hopefully we can do that soon. So we'll keep you guys posted as I mentioned. Before we wrap this video up, we're gonna have another small segment too. We have our client's car, Mike's car over here that we're gonna talk about real quickly, and then we'll close this video out for you guys. Nothing's wire tucked, it's still a factory wiring harness and all that stuff, but we do have a Haltech 1500 on board. This car made 960 before the turbine wheel left the chat. You guys can see that. So this was a Borg Warner 9280. Most of you guys that have ran Borgs know kind of the Achilles heel of the Borg Warners is, you know, excessive shaft speeds. Some turbos are tolerant of it. These turbos are not. This is the third one that we've seen the turbine wheel essentially become a Bluetooth accessory. Well, what I did is I gave my boys at HPT another call. You know, I've been calling HPT guys a lot lately. So we got a HPT, well, this is a compressor cover, but 7175. So 7175, if you look over there, having a hard time getting the turbo to fit, so we ordered a spacer to make it work with the full race manifold. So we're gonna have to do some fabrication around it, which Chris from CM Builds, he's gonna help us out. So tomorrow we're gonna get that and we're gonna wrap this up. This car, like I said, made 960 at 47 pounds of boost. It was still climbing. That was at like 7,600 RPM. This motor is a 2.4 liter stroker, so it's a 2.2 liter, which we went with the big sleeve, big piston 89 mil bores, and that essentially bumps up another like 0.15 liters of displacement-ish. So it's actually a 2.4. So we don't want to rev it too high, but you know, it was making power all the way out to 8,500. So if it's gonna make power, I'm gonna rev it out, I don't care. Yeah, this car is also fueled by ID 2600s. Again, guys, a single set of 2600 injectors, and we're able to make 4-digit power and still have like 20-25% injector duty left over. So that's gonna be it for this one. Just mainly wanted to do an introduction of where the car is, essentially the shop car is, and just one of the projects that we got going on. We have many, but this is what we wanted to start with and let you guys know about the actual media team and the fact that we are going to be bringing you guys more content. It's going to be a lot of EVO content, now a lot of super content as well. There's stuff that we got to unbox, but we're going to keep that for a later video. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. Make sure to subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification, and yeah, get out of here now.